Oh, so helpful. Well, if we, so another question I've got here then. So that helps. That's very helpful for understanding how you feel about that and your color. If we look the other way, where there is a discourse out there at the moment that white people are automatically complicit, guilty due to their skin color. There is an inheritance of the sin of racism that they carry, that manifests itself in white guilt and highlighting of that, and a lot of people acting out of that. What do you think of that? And what that's doing to the conversation?
Yeah, it doesn't help. White guilt, white fragility, by which white people get nervous.
Yeah.
To talk about issues of race, or to make a contribution in the debate is singularly unhelpful. And I think sometimes Black assertiveness, because we're so angry and with good reason, because we're so fed up and tired and with good reason, because we don't want to have another conversation about the same thing we've been talking about for decades, and with good reason, all of that energy and anger and justified impatience can drive white attitudes into silence. And that's not helpful either. And I have been on, a number of Zoom calls where in the room, the white folks listen to the Black folks but have nothing to say. One of the best encounters I've seen in one of the best conversations I've seen so far in this whole debate was hosted by TDX, where he was the Black host and all his guests, I think he had 5 guests, were all white Christians from across the world. And he was talking about these issues. So to hear white brothers and sisters expressing their concerns, their lostness, their confusion, yes, where possible, their guilt, was also helpful. And for a Black guy, to host that conversation, I thought was very healthy, very therapeutic. So I'd say, let's not do white guilt any more than Black guilt. And let's remember that racism is one expression of the fallen condition, which us Christians call sin and sinfulness. We're all guilty of sin. We've all come short of the glory of God. And there is a sense in which I am equally uncomfortable as a Black church leader to experience white racism in Black churches with white leadership from the States, where institutional racism is just as strong as anything we might meet in the Church of England or elsewhere, where if you're Black or Hispanic or a person of color in a Southern-led States Pentecostal outfit, it is extremely unlikely that you will ever in a year of Sundays become the international director or bishop for that movement. Why? Because all the cards are stacked against you. I've learned to accommodate that. That's just as wrong as just as evil. So I wanted to come directly to your question. When we're in the room together, I don't expect a white person in the room to feel guilty about the sins of their forefathers. I don't want any white folks repenting on my shoulder. I don't want any white folks washing my feet. I don't want anybody to hug me and say how much they love me. I just want us to work together as brothers and sisters. And where we find obstacles to human flourishing and where we find racist behavior which stands in the way of the progress of Christians in the local church, let's be honest and deal with it. We should feel guilty about our personal sins. If I have personally wronged you, or you have personally wronged me, let's feel guilty, let's be conscious. But white folks can also be very aware and identify with the systemic sins which has come from white privileged positions. White folks can feel, and rightly so, a sense of continuity between all they have received as white folks over the last 400 years as a part of the legacy of slavery. It doesn't have to be guilt. It just has to be a responsible awareness that we have started in very different places as a result of our heritage. But it's a very, very different thing than crippling, debilitating guilt.
Yeah, man, that is so helpful, John.